This girl is such a fool. She attempted to stop a high-speed cooling fan using a hollow steel rod. With all her strength, she unscrewed the first bolt. Then, the second, the third were also successfully unscrewed under her relentless efforts. In the end, with a powerful strike, the entire fan grill fell off. Kapoor, not wasting a moment, hastily grabbed the rod and thrust it towards the direction of the fan outlet. However, as soon as it touched the fan blade, the rod was knocked away. Undeterred, Kapoor kept her eyes fixed on the fan, her hands firmly gripping the steel rod once more. Kapoor regulated her breath, timed her moment, and directly smashed the rod towards the fan blade. But in the next second, the rod was deflected, her hands were injured, and the cooling fan remained unscathed. As the temperature kept dropping, Kapoor, foreseeing her imminent death from freezing in this cold storage, tremulously pulled out a lighter from her bag. After igniting it, she attempted to warm herself with a feeble flame. However, this tiny flame was useless in the negative 17 degrees Celsius freezer. Consequently, Kapoor, in a bid to survive, burned her hard-earned IELTS pass certificate and several test papers. In the face of life and death, the future seemed trivial. Indeed, as the flame grew larger, Kapoor comfortably closed her eyes. Feeling drowsy, even the little mouse got excited and crawled out of her bag, and the temperature in the freezer gradually began to rise. Just when everything was looking up, the little mouse seemed to discover something and suddenly scurried back into the bag. Kapoor involuntarily started coughing at that moment. She opened her eyes, terrified to find the room enveloped in smoke. Before freezing to death, she was going to be choked by the smoke. Kapoor had no choice but to quickly use a piece of cardboard to smother the fire, staring at the flames she'd extinguished with her own hands. Kapoor felt lost, unsure of what to do next. Suddenly, she found a card in the ashes. The card told the story of how the Innu people-sized houses could resist the cold. Consequently, Kapoor gathered her spirits and carried several boxes, big and small, from the shelves of the freezer room. After that, she stacked the boxes together, leaving only a small entrance for herself. But after setting it up, Kapoor did not rush in. Instead, she first put the little mouse that had been keeping her company inside, and then she laboriously crawled in herself. Although it was not as warm as a real ice house, it was significantly warmer than before. Soon, Kapoor, unable to resist fatigue, fell asleep. She prayed that when she woke up, there would be rescuers at the door. She didn't know how long she had slept, but when she opened the cardboard door, she saw there were no rescuers outside, and the little mouse that had come in with her was lying on the ground, its fate unknown. Upon seeing this, Kapoor hurriedly moved to check, but it was at this moment that she discovered frost had formed on her arm while she slept. Sticking it firmly to the cardboard, Kapoor was desperate to save the mouse. She wiped her tears and struggled to crawl out, but soon her face was once again wet with tears. She saw the little mouse, already frozen solid on the ground, with no chance of revival. Thinking that she would be frozen to death in just a few hours, Kapoor started crying out of fear, but crying was useless. She knew she couldn't keep waiting, so she found some cling film and tightly wrapped it around her hands and feet. In the end, Kapoor, like a female warrior, stared intensely at the two high-speed rotating cooling fans. Then, something she never expected happened. She easily managed to stop the fan blades. Kapoor didn't have time to celebrate. She quickly threw herself at the other fan, but the previous effort had exhausted all her energy, and after only a few attempts, Kapoor fell to the ground. When she woke up again, her eyelashes had formed a layer of frost, and her once fair face had turned a frosty blue. The police and her family had already searched the entire mall, but they had forgotten about this cold storage room. Just as Kapoor was about to freeze to death, she accidentally discovered a partition connecting to the fire passage. After dismantling the wooden board, she had almost no strength left. She could only rely on the will to live, holding the tray to keep hitting the pipe. However, the faint sound was just heard by her father. Excitedly, she opened the fire hydrant, about to confirm, but Kapoor had completely exhausted her strength, and the knocking sound stopped abruptly. Her father, full of disappointment, was about to leave when Kapoor could no longer hold on and passed out. The iron tray in her hand dropped instantly, making a loud noise that her father, who hadn't gone far, heard clearly. Subsequently, he opened the fire hydrant again, and sure enough, he found the opening above. After just 3 seconds, the door to the cold storage was finally opened. Kapoor, who had spent an entire night inside, was finally rescued.